Thousands of young people between the ages of 11 and 18 have voted in this year's Make Your Mark ballot. It gives them a chance to have their voice heard in the UK Youth Parliament at Westminster. An astonishing supermoon and lunar eclipse amazed people around the world on Sunday the 27th of September, a sight that only occurs once about every 30 years. We take a look at the Hackney Live G2M Music Awards and interview this year's winner. The British Touring Car Racing Championship ended on Sunday the 11th of October at Brands Hatch, where Gordon Shedden was named this year's winner. More details coming up later in the programme. In world news, we report on the Spanish region of Catalonia, who are currently campaigning for an in-out referendum for Spain. And finally, in sports, England are out of the Rugby World Cup. What effects does the tournament have on the country? Hello and welcome to the BBC News Score Reports with me, Matthew Smith. First of all, we will head to our political correspondent, James Rantel, to speak about the Make Your Mark ballot.
Across the country, young people have been voting in the Make Your Mark ballot, giving them the chance to express what issues they think are important. At the start of every academic year, secondary school children are given the opportunity to vote on a topic that they think should be discussed in the UK Youth Parliament. In 2014, over 785,000 votes took place. The aim of the programme, of course, was to enable children to have their voices heard in House of Commons, as well as to encourage them to take more involvement in politics as a whole. The 5 main voted topics will then be discussed by the Youth Parliament on the 13th of November in the House of Commons. The MYPs, or members of the Youth Parliament, will then vote on 2 topics to become their campaign for the rest of the year. The votes on this year's ballot paper that I have here are this: votes at 16, the end of child austerity and poverty, a curriculum to prepare us for life, public transport, climate change, mental health, funding our youth services, the living wage, tackling racism, and extended special educational needs support. An MYP is elected for every constituency. They work alongside councillors, MPs and members of local groups in order to help promote the views and opinions of young people. We're here outside the Bexley Civic offices, where the Bexley Youth Council is helping to run the ballot in this local area. A selfie challenge was even launched to help promote the ballot. For more information, go to www.ukyouthparliament.org.uk. So the big question now is, what type of mark will this make on the rest of the country? James Rantel, BBC News, Bexley Heath.
Now Luke James brings us this report about the lunar eclipse.
On Sunday the 27th of September, a giant supermoon appeared in our skies, followed by an astonishing lunar eclipse. On Sunday evening, the moon appeared bigger and brighter than ever. This is because the moon had reached its closest point to the Earth in its elliptical orbit. Then it developed into an even more amazing sight. A total lunar eclipse that only happens every 30 years. The last time we saw one was in 1982, and the next time we will see one is in 2033, making it an even more rare sight. It could be seen from Western Europe, Africa and eastern parts of North and South America. The lunar eclipse happens when the sun, the earth and the moon are all aligned, and the earth's shadow passes over the moon, making it a shade of red. The lunar eclipse peaked at 3:47 AM on Monday morning. This is when the moon was totally engulfed by the Earth's shadow. If you woke up after 6 AM, you have to wait another 30 years to see it. This is Luke James, BBC News.
Now Jamie Morland is joined with one of the winners of Hackney Live Music Awards, Gary Landick.
Hello, I'm joined by Gary Landick, who is in the gas tanks and won the Hackney Live Music Awards on the 2nd of October. Now, you won both the audience vote and the judges' vote. So, at first, did you think you had a chance of winning?
Well, at the beginning, it's more just listening to everyone, trying to get a taste for their music, as well as comparing it to ours. There was a few really good artists that were there, and good groups. So, at first, I thought, no, we're not going to actually have a chance in winning this. But as we came on, obviously the judges really liked us, and so did the audience, I suppose. Everyone feels nerves. I can assure you that there was definitely younger people than us that was there, so it affects everyone. It really does. In a way, it's more original than other people's songs. Like, everyone's song there had to be original, but ours was different than others. It wasn't just a normal song that you would hear on the radio. It was a mixture of rapping, a mixture of singing, a mixture of talking.
Now, your song is called Chicken Shop. How did you come up with that idea?
Well, the storyline behind it is basically these two guys that go into school forgetting it's the summer holidays, and when they get there they realise it's the summer holidays, so they go to their favourite chicken shop, really, and that was as far as we got.
Where is this going to lead you? What's more to come with this?
With winning the music awards, we got studio time in the premises. We're really excited about, because it will sound really good. We've got to make our own music video, which was the judges' vote, and on the 30th of October we're doing another gig, I think in Hurstmere. At the beginning we was just like, oh yeah, let's go with it. We won both of them, really excited, so just always buzzing, really.
Brilliant, well thank you for joining us.
That's right.
We now take over to Brands Hatch for some motoring news, where the British Touring Car Championship has just come to a close.
Welcome to the BTCC Championship, which is being held at Brands Hatch. It's Sunday the 11th of October and the championship final of the BTCC British Touring Car Championship. The vehicles used in the BTCC are highly modified saloons and hatchbacks. The championship is set up to be a high contact sport with high amounts of conflict between the drivers. The corner behind me is Druid's Corner, and a lot of collisions and contact types of racing happen on this corner because of the fact that there are close quarters and a lot of speed and braking involved. This straight is where the drivers will drive fastest on the entire course, and they will reach speeds in excess of 150 miles per hour. Current top three standings of the championship are Gordon Shedden in first, Jason Plato in second, and Colin Turkington in third. These are all drivers that are in striking distance of the championship title. The weekend also features races from the Porsche Cup, Ginetta Junior and Super Cup, Renault Clio Cup and British MSA Formula Cup. There are also many other selection of things to do here, including stalls, a children's playground and a fun fair. I think it's electrified. It really does kind of, there's something different when you watch a race live to when you just see it on TV. There's something different about it. It really is. So now we're in the paddock. We've interviewed and spoken to 3 different racing drivers, 2 from the Porsche GT Cup and 1 from the Ginetta Super Cup.
I got into it really through my father. He was a big fan of motor racing, and when I was young, he was doing a bit of it himself in karting, and But as soon as I was old enough to have a go, he wanted me to have a go. And to be honest, when I first started, I didn't really like it very much. I was okay on my own, but not really when I was in the racing. So I actually went to play football and other things, but not very well. And then managed to get back into racing when I was 12 and been doing it ever since then.
Okay. Also, just wondering, what position were you in? What position are you? Sorry, in the championship currently?
So I'm leading. I have won the championship actually. So it's been a great year. I've won a lot of races and had some really good results. And I won the championship last time out at Silverstone. So it's been great. Thank you very much.
Well, my father was a race driver, and then my brother went into racing as well. So it's kind of a religion.
Are you happy? What position did you get today, and are you happy with that position?
I think we can talk about this after the second race, because the championship still belongs to the last race. So it's hard to say anything before.
How did I get into motorsport? When I was a very young lad, I was a keen enthusiast. In fact, I first came to Brands Hatch almost 50 years ago when I was still at school. I always loved it. But I was never in a position to really be able to afford it. And as you get older and you get rid of your responsibilities in life, then you can spend a little bit more on your hobbies. And that's how I'm here.
Are you enjoying the atmosphere today? Has it been a good race day for you?
This is a fantastic atmosphere to come to Brands Hatch, to race on the Grand Prix circuit in glorious weather in the middle of October. It doesn't get a lot better than this in Britain.
So, what do you enjoy doing the most about racing?
Winning. Simple as that. Anything less than a win is a disappointment.
So not only is it the end of a championship, but it is the end of a racing year as a whole. This has been Harry Hollyhead, BBC News, Brands Hatch.
Following on from that report, Gordon Shedden won the competition, despite Jason Plateau winning the season finale on Sunday. Now for our world news story. Our editor brings you this report.
The northeast Spanish region of Catalonia passionately demonstrates their want for an independence referendum in a London protest. On Saturday the 5th of September, protesters marched through central London to encourage an in-out referendum, which the Spanish government is strictly against.
Well, there's been some cultural differences with Spain, as well as some economic issues on, solidarity between communities, and the idea is that we're basically demonstrating here in order to vote for independence, and that the result of it is being listened.
In November 2014, an unofficial non-binding referendum was held in Catalonia, in which 80% of people backed the independence that the Spanish government denies.
Catalonia, long time ago, it was a country, and as we lost the war, a long time ago, we were included somehow into, now it's Spain, okay? But we, as you see, the people never agreed to be into Spain, So the thing is, for all of that years, we've been keeping all of our culture, keeping our traditions, keeping our language, even though we don't have a country. But the culture is still there,
On the other hand, Prime Minister David Cameron warned that Catalonia could struggle to find a place as a separate state in the EU, saying it could be at the back of the queue. On the 27th of September, regional elections took place in Catalonia, where pro-independence parties were voted in by a landslide majority. This was after major demonstrations in Barcelona on September the 11th. Even though this dispute has been ongoing for years, for now, an independent Catalonia is still looking uncertain. Jamie Morland, BBC News.
Finally, for the sports news, we go over to Twickenham for the Rugby World Cup.
Bigger and better than ever before, the Rugby World Cup returns to the UK. But what impact does this have on young people? The Rugby World Cup is an international men's tournament which is held every 4 years. The tournament started back in 1987, and this site's been hosted right here in the UK as the largest event since the 2012 Olympics. Approximately 5 billion people across the world will watch the World Cup. What effects does this have on young people and the rest of the country?
So the local area particularly, there's a lot of businesses running on the World Cup, and that's helping them. But just generally, I think it's good for the UK. You've got visitors coming from overseas, you know, you've got local businesses and hotels and places like that. And Richmond and Twickenham in the evening of a rugby day, it's just heaving and lots of people out having fun, enjoying themselves.
The tournament is known for attracting a large number of tourists. Roughly 500,000 international visitors are expected to travel here and spend money on the local economy, including hotels, shops, transport and their match tickets.
I really like the fact that a whole lot of people from all around the world can get together, play tough and hard together, but all have a beer and be a good friends after and before the games and give each other a little bit of curry every now and then. But it's great, brings everybody together.
I think that everything, the people, the party in the streets, the things that the rugby, the passion that rugby brings to people.
In order to cope with the huge amount of people, the UK's infrastructure has been sufficient. This is why £85 million has been spent on improving facilities, transport, reducing congestion and providing enough accommodation. However, one of the most important parts of these effects is the legacy and encouraging young people to get involved.
I work at a rugby club. After the last World Cup, when England, the last one we won, the participation of the youngsters, the club went way up. Yes, it has a very positive effect.
Students who no longer play rugby, aged 16 to 24, are being urged to get back into the sport with the Making Contact and O2 Touch Rugby scheme, which has recruited 16,000 regulars.
Rugby, 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 rugby.
Annual Schools programme is attempting to put rugby into 750 state secondary schools by 2019, and a Keep Your Boots On campaign is bringing officials and coaches from retired players. This shows the massive emphasis how the Rugby World Cup benefits and inspires the young people as well as the rest of the country. This is George Collins, BBC News, Twickenham.
That's all from us today, but make sure to visit the website bbc.co.uk/score report to keep up to date with the latest. Goodbye.